Hi everyone, it's Dora here. So in a yoga class, sometimes you might hear the teacher say, now Vinyasa, or take your flow. So for newer yogis, you might wonder, okay, what is it? What am I supposed to do when they say that? So today I'm going to show you how to Vinyasa and also some modifications that you could take to make the Vinyasa comfortable and accessible to your body. So let's just go through what a Vinyasa looks like, and then we'll talk about what options you could take in the various poses without compromising the flow of the movements. So here we go. We usually start a Vinyasa from downward facing dog. And I like to measure out my dog in plank, so having the shoulders over the wrists and having the body nice and long here. And then from here, you can send the hips back and up, coming to downward dog. And it might even feel good to start with bent knees and lengthen along the spine, and then slowly you can begin to melt the heels towards the ground. Now from here, this is where you might hear, now take your Vinyasa. So what this means is you're coming from downward facing dog, and then you're shifting forward to find plank, and then you would chaturanga down, but instead of just lowering straight down, we're going to shift forward slightly, so shoulders up in front of the wrists. Chaturanga. Taking your upward facing dog. And then coming back to downward facing dog. So that was your Vinyasa. So we can look at this again a little bit quicker. Coming from downward facing dog, inhaling to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhaling for upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Take a breath. And then from here, we can start to walk the hands back towards the feet. It might feel good to take a little forward bend here. Now let's bend into the knees, engage the belly. If it feels right, you might start to roll up one vertebrae at a time, stacking one on top of the other as you roll on up. Inhale, reach the arms up, and exhale, circle the arms down. Okay, so that was what a Vinyasa or your flow would look. Now let's break it down a little bit here. So downward facing dog may not be comfortable or accessible for every single person in class. Or you might start off with doing the downward dog at the beginning of class when you feel energized, but maybe towards the end of the class you're starting to feel a little bit tired. So what can you do instead of downward facing dog? So you can still continue to participate in your Vinyasa flow with just slightly different poses. So if you, for whatever reason, don't want to take downward facing dog, you can always come to a child's pose. So sending the hips back, you can keep the arms lifted off the ground so that your arms are still a bit active here. You can press into your hands, arms active as you sink back. And your head might not be resting on the ground. Okay, so then from here, if you were to take a Vinyasa, you can come forward to plank. An option here is to tuck the toes under and come back to your full plank if you want. Or if full plank is not an option you wish to take, drop the knees down. And then from here, instead of coming straight up into your upward facing dog, let's come all the way down onto the belly. So bend into the elbows. Point the elbows back as you lower down. Come all the way onto the belly. Flip the feet, so toenails to the ground. Hug the belly in, and as you inhale, gently lift the chest up and forward. Coming to your cobra. And then exhale, lower back down. Now from here, you can tuck the toes under, press up to plank, and come back to downward facing dog. Or you can come back from where you came. And if we're demonstrating that, after your cobra pose, you're going to come up onto hands and knees, and then send the hips back to a child's pose. Okay, you can walk your hands towards your knees, and you might come on to sit, or you might tuck your toes under, lift the knees, and then walk your hands back towards your feet to come to your forward bend like we did before. And then again, you might gently roll on up to stand. Come all the way up. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, circle them down. So let's go through this again, and taking all the modifications that we just practiced. So instead of downward facing dog, we're coming to a child's pose. And then inhale, coming forward onto plank on the knees. Exhaling, lower down onto the belly. Inhaling to your cobra pose. Exhaling, lower down. Come on back onto hands and knees, and then from here, you can send the hips back into your child's pose. And then you can always change it up. So if you feel good with a plank, full plank here, tuck the toes under, come on to full plank. And then if chaturanga isn't something you wish to do in this position, then drop the knees and chaturanga down. Hands can be beside the rib cage. Another modification is that you can bring your hands underneath the shoulders, and sometimes that is more accessible as you come up to cobra. And know that baby cobra is also an option here, so lifting up, engaging the back muscles without pressing too much into the hands. Exhale, lower back down. Move the hands back beside the rib cage as you press back up. And again, either on the knees or on the toes, either taking child's pose or back in your downward facing dog. And this time, if it feels good, you might walk the feet forward. Take your forward bend. Relax the head and neck. Knees can be bent here. Alrighty, roll on up. Keeping the core engaged. And come all the way up. Inhale, reach the arms up. And hands to heart, exhale. Alright. So I hope that showed you that there are many ways to do a Vinyasa flow in class. You can always modify to your needs so that you're really practicing for yourself. There are many options. Anywhere that a downward facing dog is in place, you can always come to a child's pose whenever you need. So hopefully this video was helpful, and I will see you next time. Namaste.